we are talking about virtual event hacks. How can you guys take the magic that happens in a live room and take it virtual? Vianzi, tell them what you do.
I am a life coach. I'm a TV host. I'm a podcast host. But the point is I am a life coach, and everything stems out of that.
Thank you, Beauty. And what about you, Kathleen?
Yes, Sage. I'm a business strategist, and I help women develop their influence, their income, and their impact.
Fist bump for powerful women. And let us know, what's your next step with virtual events? Do you have a virtual event coming up? Are you excited to lead virtual events? Have you ever been to a retreat that changed your life? And now that we're living in this new craziness, you're like, can I actually create the magic that happens at a live retreat? You know, I've led live retreats in Bali and the Big Island and, you know, all over the planet. And I will tell you that the virtual event that we just had last week was every bit as powerful and transformational and magical as the events that we've done in person. And I wasn't even a full believer until I got to orchestrate it for nearly 200 women. And we are here today to tell you just a few of the things that we did so that you too can take your events online, you can take your events virtual and make a big difference in the lives of your clients and continue to make amazing money in your business. So Rachel, do you want to dive in and just let everyone know? We were at a 3-day event last week. It was a client retreat, clients only, about 200 women in our year-long programs. And it was called the Wealth Retreat, right? And Rachel's actually been to this exact retreat in person and
Yes.
She got to come virtual. And so what was that like for you?
I have to say, Sage, despite the fact we weren't literally in person, I felt like we were in person together. I felt such cellular connection with you, with our coaches, with all the sisters, and it was truly magical and so special.
Oh, I'm so glad you felt that. I felt that too. And I even felt like you guys were all around me. Like, I go to sleep at live retreats and I see a pool of women's faces, like hundreds of smiling women's faces, and like in the audience. And I was going to sleep at the virtual retreat and seeing a grid of women's faces on Zoom. I was literally seeing it in my dreams. You know, it's like that same level of connection and service, and everything's energy, right? We're operating in an energetic world. And so Rachel, you were speaking before about a couple specific things that we did. What would you say is like one specific thing that we did that helped you feel that connected?
I felt really connected, number one, throughout the entire thing, but especially connected to my fellow sisters when we went into our breakout rooms. The breakout rooms were amazing, and I met women I might not have met otherwise. And it was really special. The magic that happened and the brainstorming together to support each other with our businesses was awesome.
So cool. So you guys, here's what we did. We basically divided the event into 2 or 3 sessions each day. And each session had a teaching component and a breakout component, right? So for those of you that are planning virtual events, write that down. You want to sandwich your breakouts by some teaching, right? Because it doesn't make a lot of sense to just send people into breakouts with no context. Write this down. Context matters 10 times more than content. So you can bring great content to a virtual event, but without the context, without the container, without creating the experience, it can just fall flat and be like, oh, people are just watching another video. You need to get them connected. And Zoom has an amazing feature now where you can put people into breakouts on video camera so they can see each other. It's so exciting. If you haven't used it yet or haven't experienced it, you'll have to come attend one of our virtual events. We're doing one next week where you guys will experience breakouts. We'll tell you about that in a moment, but you want to divide your virtual event up into 2 or 3 sessions a day. Keep it simple. No, like if you go more than 2 or 3, it's just going to be too complicated. Do you know what I mean? You want to keep it simple. When you guys are planning these kinds of events, you want to keep it simple because you want to get an assistant on board to help you. You need to be able to communicate the schedule to your clients. So if it's too complicated, you don't want to lose people. And then there were always 2 links, a link to the main room and a link to the breakout room. And so it was very clear where people should go. And we were doing everything inside of a Facebook group, just like we do in our Women Rocking Business Sisterhood. So when you guys are doing events connected to a Facebook group, that's awesome because you can communicate with people in real time through the Facebook group. Do you know what I mean? You can always send people back into the Facebook group to say, if you want to find out whether we're in the main room or whether we're in the breakout room, you want to go into the Facebook group to find out. And one of the benefits, you guys, of moving people from a main room into a breakout room is that some people are multitasking. Let's just be honest. Like, not everybody's sitting there waiting to engage on camera. You're always going to, once you get more than 12 or 15 people, you're always going to have a few people that might not be fully ready to go. And so going over to a different line for your breakouts is going to clean that up. Only the people that actually want to do the breakouts will go over there. And then you don't end up with a bunch of breakout rooms with people in the breakout rooms that are multitasking and folding their laundry in the background, right? Not that anybody would do that when we're teaching, because we are hella interesting and profound, right? But thank you, Rachel. Kiss for Rachel. Mwah. I'm so glad the breakout served you. And what about you,
Thank you so much.
Voyanzi? Yeah.
Well, really, to piggyback on what Rachel was saying, if you think about the breakout rooms, for me, that's where the magic happened. And that's where I took away the marketing language that I was suffering in before, suffering in silence. And the sisterhood and the magic in the breakout room produced language, listen, for my program that's now I'm starting to fill up for August. And literally every time I get a potential client on the phone, all I do is pick up this book and I literally read, I read what I got from that breakout room.
Well, read it. Give it to us.
Okay, yes.
Pass it on us. We want to hear.
I'll pretend like you're them. Listen, what's going to happen is you'll be able to step up and step out with clarity, confidence, and passion so you can move into your life that you desire, knowing you're next. You'll go from here to clear so that you can unlock the chains holding you back from your true desire. That's pillar one. I'll stop there. I'll just whet your appetite. But that's all I do is I read this and people are like, I feel that. So there was magic in those breakout rooms.
And I loved how engaged the women were last week around their marketable program and their marketable language. So I did a basic training on how to uplevel your marketing language, and we gamified it for the first time. So write this down, you guys. You split your days into 2 or 3 sessions, right? You have a breakout in every single session, and you gamify each session, and you've got clear outcomes for each day. So last week at our retreat, Vuyanzi is talking about day 1 is about offers, making hot offers, right? Understanding how to describe the program that you're offering your clients. Day 2 is about starting to calendar and get to the front side of your launch and your schedule and start to look at, well, what would I do for the next 6 weeks? Like, what exactly would I be doing each week for the next 6 weeks to put this thing together, this virtual event together? And then day 3 was all about really deciding on at least one collaboration partner. I think you guys will remember we had contests and prizes for each of the 3 days. And so when you guys posted your marketable program, right, we chose one of the most creative ones and we gave you guys, put prizes in the mail. You guys won coaching sessions with one of our coaches for the collaboration prize. And so when you guys put your virtual event together, you just need 2 or 3 teaching sessions per day. You want to have a big outcome that they're going to get out of those teaching sessions, a chance for people to go into breakouts at least once during each teaching session, because write this down, impression without expression leads to depression. If you just keep teaching for more than like 20 or 30 minutes and you don't give people a chance to actually interact around your teaching, it's like the energy just drops. Can you guys feel that? So write down your comments on the, your ahas on the comment thread, right? Impression without expression leads to depression. What else are you guys learning about virtual events? Let's get those comments going on the comment thread so we can all learn. But it's like the gamification is what also really, I think, inspired women to even like play harder when it came to developing their marketing language, drafting out their calendars, because they weren't just doing it sitting behind their computer alone. They were doing it in community, and then they were posting it in the Facebook group for visibility. And that's another tip, you guys. This is a super hot tip. Whenever you can get your participants that instant visibility, everything's going to up level. They're going to be that much more engaged. And really, I think that's the future of internet marketing. It's not just content. It's what we call experientification, giving people an experience, right? Rather than them just sitting behind a computer screen. And we're going to do this all week long next week. And I can't wait to have you guys. We've got our Facebook challenge going on how to stand out and stand up online and find all your clients online. And each day we're going to be playing games, and each day we're going to be giving away thousands of dollars worth of prizes. So you guys will be able to see all of this in action. It's totally free. Just sign up at the link here if you haven't already. But Kathleen, let's give a kiss to Vuyanzi. Mwah. And Kathleen, what about you? What would you say was your biggest takeaway last week?
Yeah, Sage, it was really terrific. The engagement and the involvement of everyone. This was like everybody was all in last week, which was so fun. It was really good. It was just not a webinar or a seminar. It was just we were a tribe, a community that were all moving together. And one of my biggest takeaways was really the whole idea of upgrading my concepts around money, and then that upgrade philosophy around every other area of my life. And what I love about the work that you do in the teaching is we learn it, there's a story, and then we apply it. So that's what's so really different and so wonderful is it's not just theory. It's okay, how am I going to get on the court and really do something about it now? And that's why here it is a week later, and I'm still like, in the afterglow, and still in the seminar. I mean, still in the, our workshop. It was so great. Yeah. So thank you. It was wonderful.
You're so welcome. And how would you say that's going to affect your relationship with money moving forward? Because you were saying earlier that you had this big, just kind of up level around money. Like, is it about your own havingness? Is it about charging what you're worth?
Yeah, all of those things. And I think most importantly for me is challenging and encouraging and guiding the women that I work with to upgrade their point of view, upgrade the work they're doing. So I'm a guide that helps them do it. So therefore I get to do it too. Right. And, as a woman entrepreneur, this occurred to me last week was that how can I command higher fees and have a bigger purpose for those fees? Because it's not about the money per se, it's about like the cause, it's about the mission and the purpose, and then pay all that forward, Sage. So it was awesome.
This is so good. This is something I'm inviting each of you to write down. Money loves order, right? Like when you guys are ready to go out there and charge more money, and right, there's so many coaches out there being like, oh, right, high paying clients, charge more money, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what that starts with? That starts with the thing that you're selling. That starts with your program, right? We don't want all of that energy on us. People aren't investing in us. That doesn't feel good. People are investing in themselves through the programs we create, through the services, through the products. And so it's just an opportunity for each and every one of you to get even more clear about describing what it is that you have to offer, right? Because when you actually can show people like, here's what we do in the first month, and here's what we do in the second month, and here's the structure that's going to hold you all the way through whether it's a 3-day program or a 30-day program or a 12-month program, it's about having that structure, because write this down, money loves order. In fact, some version of that, money loves order, is in almost every spiritual text. Like it's literally in the Bible, right? And so, regardless of your spiritual orientation, money moves toward places where it can be organized, right? And so what an awesome opportunity. And speaking of organization, I'll say one more thing about the breakout rooms, that when you throw people into a breakout room, you want to think through how you're setting that up, right? To really set up that breakout from a place of how is each person in that group of 3 or 4 going to share something about their business, share something about their spirituality, share something about their leadership, and then get feedback from the group in a short amount of time. So you want to think through how much time are they going to have in there? What are the instructions? And to really make it clear what they're doing in their breakout. And so one of the ways we did that is we posted a clear instruction about what to do in the breakout right in the Facebook group. And we would screen share the instruction. What happens in breakouts often, if you don't set it up right, is people are a little confused and it falls a little flat. So you want to practice setting that up with specific questions. And then we would do some fun breakouts where we would throw quick questions at people. We would be like, okay, you guys, write this down. What does financial freedom mean to you? You have 2 minutes. Ready, go. Go into your breakout, ready, go. Financial freedom means this to me. Everybody's going to complete that sentence, and then you're going to acknowledge each other. Don't switch partners before you acknowledge each sister who shares. And what would you guys say that acknowledgement does? Because it does something, right? The acknowledgement, like the sandwiching a breakout or the ending a breakout by making sure you love on each other, it does something to the vibe. Like, did you guys experience that? And what would you say it does?
I experienced that, Sage, and it really uplifted me, and it felt me to feel seen, heard, and loved.
We don't get enough acknowledgement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Beautiful.
A sense of also sisterhood, right? Because then you're getting that love. I'm all about one of my love languages is words of affirmation. So when I hear that, for me, literally, my tank is like going up, 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 up. And I just automatically feel closer to those people that are saying this thing to me. And so it became a sisterhood.
Exactly.
Yeah,
go ahead, Kathleen.
Oh, I was going to say, Yanzi, you are so right. And especially in the world today, we are all sisters, and we've got sisters with brothers. And that's what that exercise really demonstrated, Sage, is just this beautiful, loving community of support. And it was just really good. Really, really good.
So good. So good. I want to say hi to Ida from St. Martin and Kathleen from Tucson. Lisa from North Carolina. I'm glad you guys are appreciating this training. Kathleen says, impression without expression leads to depression. So let us know any questions you have about virtual events, but I'll just say this one piece too, that especially as women, we actually learn from being celebrated and witnessed, right? The feminine in us grows from being celebrated and witnessed. The masculine in us actually grows from being challenged. And we need both. We need to feel challenged in life, but we also have to feel celebrated and witnessed. And most of us didn't get enough of that growing up. And so then we put ourselves out there to go make videos and go do webinars and go put marketing materials together. And we're wondering why it all feels so hard, because sometimes, you know, it's just because our sort of love tank isn't full enough. We're not necessarily feeling safe enough in the world to put our necks out there. It can feel like you're out on a little bitty branch. And so for every single one of you that's leading events, you know, work in ways to actually allow people to see and acknowledge each other. What other questions do you three have about putting your own virtual events together?
Speaking of containers and structure and things being hard, I'm just wondering that transition. I find just the thought of live seems to be so much easier. But what was it as you moved forward that helped keep things so crisp? Like what mindset, whether it's a mindset or literally I wrote this on a piece of paper that helped to create a crisp, solid event?
I would say two things. Number one, getting organized. You know, so we had a couple of Google Docs where the whole team knew here's what each session is about, and here's the call to action in each session. And I got to hold the teaching pieces, but you guys noticed I had support. I had somebody starting us off and welcoming everybody. We had an MC. Claire played music. Claire was always gathering the energy at the beginning of the day because I'm on there training all day long. That's a lot of energy. You know, they put a pacemaker on Brendan Bouchard when he was on video and on stage, and teaching all day. Even if you're teaching into the camera, it's the same thing. It's the equivalent of running a marathon. It's like no joke. So you want to get yourself supported. And each day I had another one of my coaches come on, and do the games. And so she would be the one on Facebook looking for everybody's posts. And she would be the one I'd say, okay, when we were wrapping up the teaching session, I'd be like, okay, I know you guys are posting your marketable programs. Like, Shannon, did we find a winner? And Shannon's standing by ready to help me hold that energy so that I'm only holding so many details at once, right? So first of all, you want to get organized. You want to have at least 1 or 2 people supporting you. And then for me, the mindset was just, look, I know where I want to take people, right? I want women to have clarity around their marketable programs and their offers. I want them to feel confident in putting a plan together for their business. And so like each time I sat down to work on the event, those were the outcomes. That was my focus. So what do we need to do today in order to have them leave feeling clarity on their offers, confident about their planning, right? And so doing things in person too, like putting those marketable program components together in a breakout room where you can get that real-time feedback, that's what gives you the clarity and the confidence that I know I'm creating in the event. So as a trainer, I want to invite every single one of you guys to just get clear. You don't want more than 1 or 2 clear outcomes per day because it muddies the water. If you try to teach too much, write this down. It's about the quality of people walking away with some tangible outcomes and not the quantity of how much you teach. Are you guys picking up what I'm laying down? Mm-hmm. So that's a big piece. So we just have a couple minutes left. We probably have time for one more question. And Kathleen Gonzalez wrote in, how much time do you spend getting folks in alignment with the event at the beginning? And what do you cover? That's a really good question, Kathleen. I'll let you guys speak to that, who experienced this here. But do you guys remember what we did before the event even happened? There was something that was required for each of you to do to attend the event. Do you remember what it was?
We had an assignment. We had preparation to do prior to coming in, and the things that you asked us to make sure we had with us.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And a survey even before that, so that you and the team were really aligned with what it is that the participants wanted and needed. That was really brilliant, Sage. That was great.
You nailed it, both of you. So you want to have your participants bring something to the event, right? We had a little list. We had bring a draft of your offer, use this training call that Sage did earlier this year and draft out your offer. Bring some Postit Notes, bring a marker so you can literally put a little Postit note up to the screen with a 1 word of how you're doing. We can even do that right now if you guys want, right? It's like, we actually were able to ask 100 women on the screen for a temperature read, 1 word. What are you feeling? Right. And then everybody would do this. And right, we would get a chance to just go around and be like, okay, what's our temperature read? Buyanzi's awesome. Sage is feeling joy. Kathleen is feeling happy. Rachel is also so awesome. Okay, I would say that so far this has been a success, right? Think of what you can do in just a few moments if everybody has a marker and a Post-it, you know what I mean? And then lastly, Kathleen, the survey, super important. When you have people showing up for something, survey them ahead of time. And I'm going to be teaching you guys the mindset and the philosophy behind how to survey and what to ask during the 7-day stand up and stand out online Facebook challenge. But the survey creates a dialogue between you and the participants. And that's what you want with all your marketing, as much as you can all the time, rather than just a one-way message. Anytime you can create 2 ways, again, that's the future of digital marketing. Right? Because content is a dime a dozen. Anytime you can create that 2-way communication, you are creating connection. Write this down, and connection is currency. And so we had people fill out that survey, and one of the questions on the survey was super hot, and it was, here's what the content of the retreat is going to be. You're going to get your marketable program. You're going to schedule your launch plan. You're going to, leave with a collaboration partner. Each session builds on each other. This is the important part. Are you willing to attend every session of the retreat? Clear your schedule, because again, each session builds on each other. And please contact us if you're going to end up missing a session ahead of time. What do you think that does to people's commitment to actually being there? They're like way through the roof, right? So even if it's a free event, I highly recommend you guys send a survey out. Not everybody's going to take it. That's okay. The people that do take it, guess what? Those are your best customers. And ask people to set aside that time for their learning, because every session builds on each other. You're taking this seriously, so why shouldn't they? Right? And when you prep them that way ahead of time, then the commitment is already there, right? And then you start out the training, and every day you want to lead with, here's what we're going to go over today. Here's what we're going to cover. Here's the topic. Here's why this matters. And let's rock this out together. Thank you three so much for being here. We're going to end with a one-word acknowledgement, just like we said we would do. We're going to model that, and we'll pass it around the circle. I'm going to start with Rachel. Rachel, the essence I see in you is radiance.
The essence I see in you, Sage, is pure inspiration and light.
Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, pass it to somebody else so we can pass it all the way around.
Boyanzi, the essence I see in you is radiant.
When I see you, Rachel, you just draw me nigh. Like there's something inside you about your spirit, that smile that draws me nigh.
So beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Kathleen. This is beautifully perfect, exactly as it is. And Kathleen, you're a powerhouse. You know, you're clear and grounded, and just boom, right there.
Yes.
Kathleen, you are so on purpose, and you are such an inspiration to me and to all the women that you touch.
Kathleen, I do feel your power as well. When you speak, I'm like, damn, it's beautiful.
I love that we all just ended up doing an acknowledgement party all the way around. Everybody gets acknowledged however you do it. You guys can do acknowledgements before you switch partners. When you're the facilitator, you can also pass an acknowledgement. So I could have passed to Rachel. Rachel would pass to Kathleen. Kathleen passed to Vuyanzi. And as you guys can feel, this is real. We are figuring this out with you live and in person. And isn't that nice to know that you don't have to have it all figured out before you go live, because people can just learn right alongside you. All right. So on our way out, I'm going to have each of you guys just share, how can people follow you on Facebook if they want to stay in touch?
I'll jump in.
All right. Well, this is Rachel. Go ahead, Boyanzi. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Okay.
Kathleen first.
Yeah. Acknowledging the audience. You're in the right place at the right time with the right people. Thank you. Yeah. Kathleen Caldwell on Facebook, Caldwell Consulting Group. I'm all over, and LinkedIn and Twitter.
Beautiful. What about you, Rachel?
Rachel Cooley. Rachel spelled Rachel. I'm on Facebook, and I have my Angel Sisterhood with Rachel Cooley on Facebook.
And if you are curious about bringing angelic wisdom into the world, Rachel is the woman to follow.
Thank you.
Vuyanzi.
And my latest page on Facebook, you can find me at Vuyanzi Coaches on TV, the Coach channel. That's where you can find me.
I love it. Follow Vuyanzi and Kathleen. Kathleen does amazing work with women leaders and women thought leaders and professional women. So these three are on fire. It's so good to be here with every single one of you. Don't forget to sign up for the 7-day Stand Up and Stand Out Online Facebook challenge so we can get you more tools like this all week long and get you playing in the contests and the breakouts. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for being here. Mwah! Bye, sisters.
Bye. Thanks, Sage.
And if you got value from this episode, I invite you to hit the subscribe button so that we can get you weekly business trainings in your inbox to help you grow your impact and your income the women's way. Head over into the Women Rocking Business Sisterhood Facebook group and introduce yourself there, because women go so much further when we go together. Just click the button to subscribe, and we will see you on the other side.